Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope you are all doing well. So on today's episode, we are going to be kicking it off with a clip from this woman right here, who, as of 5 months ago, got served a divorce from her husband. Now, she, along with many other women who have been returned to the streets, are realizing that dating is a difficult thing to do. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
So it's been 5 months since my ex-husband asked me for a divorce. How am I feeling? Today I'm fine. If you would have asked me on Monday, I was not okay. I mean, not only am I grieving on like a person that's still alive, right? But I'm like grieving the loss of a life I thought I was gonna have. And I think what I'm like mourning the most is sharing my life with someone. Like the good things, the bad things, work things, friend things, family things, like not having that like your person, you know what I mean, to like share your life with, is something that I am really struggling with. It's really hard and it gets really lonely sometimes, especially when really, really good things happen to me. Like that was my person, the person I would call, the person I like first wanted to reach out to, and that I don't have that anymore, you know? And like, yeah, sure, I have my friends and I have my family, but like, it's not the same when you have like your person, you know? Anyway.
It's always really interesting to me when you have women on TikTok complaining about being lonely, right? They'll get out of a relationship or they'll get out of a marriage and say that, oh, life is so lonely, it's so hard, you know, nobody's here, nobody's my person. And this is something, guys, this is a struggle that men have been going through for the longest period of time. It's getting worse in recent years. Like, male loneliness is at an all-time high. It amazes me how you have people who can get on dating applications, get on social media, get flooded with validation, complaining about being alone. When men say they're alone, it's an entirely different thing.
I've tried dating. It's just not going well. They're like I went on one really good date, and that's really the only date I've been to. Mostly everyone like just asked to come over, and like I don't want you to come over. So like immediate unmatch, and I don't know, like, if you just have, like, the tiniest red flag, like, I just don't have the time for it anymore, like...
Listen to that. I don't have the time for it anymore. So you had time for it previously. You were dating dudes previously who exhibited these quote-unquote red flags, but now that you're getting older, you really want to have a family, you know, you want to perhaps get married again. Now we can't, you know, tolerate the bad boys because she's running out of time.
I don't want to get to know you. I hate small talk. I don't want to know what your favorite color is anymore. Like, tell me if you're going to take out the trash or if I am. Tell me if you're going to wash the dishes and I'm going to empty out the dishwasher, or like you are. Like, I just... And it, like... Not that there's anything wrong with this, but, like, the amount of, like, over 30-year-old men who are just looking for something casual, like... Y'all don't want to share your life with somebody?
I love this question. You know, like, what's going on? Why are 30-plus-year-old dudes just smashing and dashing? Why aren't men committing to me? You know, why can't I find a guy who's actually going to take me seriously? And I mentioned the male loneliness problem, guys, earlier, but truthfully, in Western societies, a lot of guys are opting to be alone. They're opting to say, you know what, I'm not interested in anything serious. You know, I'm not interested in having a relationship with these women because, you know, they can either take my assets or they're just a danger in other ways. And you have a whole bunch of guys who are simply checking out. Okay, and this is what happens, guys, is women are the ones, essentially, that get kicked in the butt, you know, when they get returned to the streets. When you ruin your marriage, I don't know these particular individual circumstances, okay, but, you know, you ditch your husband, okay, or your relationship implodes and you return to the streets and you find out that the streets are indeed quite cold. Because yes, a lot of dudes are lonely, okay, but there are also a lot of guys who opt to be alone and who are not interested in relationships these days, particularly the dudes over 30, by the way. Like, if these guys even have like a little bit of money or whatever, a lot of them are opting to just say, you know what, I'm just going to travel, right? I'm just going to go to some other country that's not Western, and I'm going to find my wife over there when I'm like 45, but in the meantime, I'm just going to have my fun.
I don't know. I had one person that I had a really, really strong, great connection with, and just like things didn't work out.
Look at that connection, strong connection. Guys, notice how whenever we see these videos, like, we don't actually get any solid concrete facts, okay? It's always like, oh, you know, my relationship ended and these dates didn't go particularly well. You never actually get into the nitty-gritty of why exactly that was the case. But when she says strong connection, typically that just means he's highly physically attractive, or she could see having a future with him because he is financially stable.
So I've also been
and when I say financially stable, I mean like financially well off, excuse me.
kind of like in my feels about that because that person's not in my life anymore. So I don't know. Post-divorce dating sucks because I feel like your mindset is not what it was prior to you getting married. Like, I feel like once you have lived your life with someone, like, you're looking for different things that were not important back then are important now. And just...
yeah, like getting commitment from men, for example. You know, guys, when women reference their dating earlier on in their life, it's always like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna have fun, I'm just gonna live my queen life. And then they get to 40, they're post-divorce, okay? They're not looking as good as they were when they were in their 20s. And yeah, she still has options, but she gets to this point and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm looking for something different, right? I'm looking for a dude who's a real man. I'm looking for that strong connection, which basically just means a connection from her to your wallet, essentially.
I don't know. If you've dated post-divorce or you're still dating post-divorce, let me know. And thanks for listening to my divorce diary. Bye.
Yeah, because that's what TikTok is supposed to be, right, guys? It's supposed to be a divorce diary, apparently. That's interesting. I haven't heard that one yet, but hey, let's continue with today's episode here, guys. We have a series of women who are going to tell us about their experiences from dating after divorce. So, guys, buckle up. Let's have some laughs. And again, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. This says, I don't want your money, I make my own. I want late night couch dates. So I don't want your money, I make my own. Yeah, I wonder how long that phrase will last. I want late night couch dates. I want to go jump in the truck and go backroading, laugh and talk about life. I want you to pick me up in the kitchen and hug me tight, then oh my goodness, man. I'm not reading the rest of this. I'm going to throw up in my animated mouth. This one says, screw sleeping together. The real question I need to ask is, do you still want me when I'm overthinking, sending you 10 messages back to back, or calling because I miss your voice and need the reassurance that you still want me, making sure I'm still beautiful and that you're not leaving?
Hello. What do I do? I'm gonna take a little break from that two guy TikTok. I just want to. I think I have a lot of people that follow me that are in the same boat as I am. You know, dating again after like being married your whole adult life. And so I always want to be as transparent as I'm comfortable with, and the healing part. I just want you to know, if you're on the same journey, that healing is not a straight line. And you are not going to be completely healed before you start new relationships. Some of that healing can't happen until you're in that relationship, until those issues come up. Like, you can't heal something you're not aware of. You only know what you know. So be gentle with yourselves.
Sorry, good.
Yeah, guys, you know, be gentle with yourselves. Right? I'm in my healing phase. I've gone through something incredibly difficult. Now that I'm out of it, everybody give me sympathy. You know, guys, like looking back on society, right? It's like there was a time when it was frowned upon, okay, when like marriages were expected to actually last. Okay, but yeah, this woman has had like a relatively long one for all things considered. But you have a whole bunch of people just, and by people I mean women, leaving marriages just because they feel like it, and then they return to the dating market and they're like, damn, it's so difficult, I have to go through my healing phase. You're not supposed to go through a healing phase, and the reason why is because when you get married, you're supposed to stay in the marriage through thick and thin, through sickness and health. Like, I love how all of these vows, guys, they just, you know, get thrown out the window when we feel like doing something a little bit different. Now, again, I don't know this woman's particular situation, guys, but I'm a believer that if you're someone who's going to get married, again, I'm not someone who recommends this to men, particularly in the West, but, you know, marriage back in the day used to mean something, but now we just end up with women crying in their cars, and it's just, it's honestly sickening. Let's continue to this next clip.
Wives believe that the family should come before their personal happiness.
Do not go back and watch that video. So triggering. And I wish everything bad on this woman. That's not something I usually say, you know, unless I'm in traffic or something. But for everything bad, literally everything bad, I wish on that creature.
Let's go back. I didn't hear. So this is Pearly, right? I'm not sure what she said in this video that pisses this other woman off so much. Let's take a listen again.
Believe that the family should come before their personal happiness.
Okay, so it seems like she was just making the point that for women, family should become, you know, come before your personal happiness. I'm going to assume by extension that also means, you know, women who are obviously in a family, not just like ones who are not wanting one. So this woman is obviously just very pissed off about it.
That's not something I usually say, you know, unless I'm in traffic or something. But for everything bad, literally everything bad, I wish on that creature.
I love how you can sit down, right, guys? You can sit down and have a conversation with men and say, you know, if you've got a loving family, you should sacrifice and provide for them and care for them. And men will sit there and go, yeah, okay, makes sense. I'd love to do that. And then you say the same thing to modern women, and it's like, holy hell, I hate everyone, you know, this, everything's evil, life is so dark, like, I hate this creature. It's like, it's very different, right? When you see how, like, men are willing to sacrifice for their families and go out there and do all these difficult jobs, but then you suggest to a modern woman that, hey, perhaps she should put her needs on the back burner, and these people just, like, flip their marbles over it.
But the reason I stitched with it is because I saw somebody else stitch with it, and I saw that phrase, and I said, let me go back and watch the video. And I said, oh, you finally tipped your hand. So women like this, pick-me's, like this very famous pick-me, they are aware that women are miserable. They are aware that men today are asking you to submit to abuse.
Not true at all. But continue.
They are aware of what's happening with marital rape, with, you know, women just not being afforded any kind of freedom, with women being...
Guys, it amazes me how people can make videos talking about having no freedom and they're recording it on like an iPhone and posting it to TikTok. You want to see what lack of freedom looks like? How about you leave your house? You know, how about you go to some of these other countries where women, like, where people generally don't have freedom. But here you are sitting, recording on your Android or iPhone or whatever the hell you're using, your video about how difficult it is to be a woman. No dude is out here, by the way, asking you to do what you said in the previous clip. That's craziness.
Expected to sublimate every human desire that they've ever had in order to say that they have a ring, and they do not give an F. They want you to suffer, and they think it is part of your role to suffer. And I'm semi-glad that she just went ahead and put it out there. Like, did you hear her? You don't deserve happiness in the marriage state. If you're married, your job is to be a domestic slave for your husband, and that is what being a, quote, good woman is.
I love how these people just can't understand that suffering is what gives life meaning. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to struggle. You're supposed to sacrifice for one another. That's the point of relationships since like the dawn of time, guys, you know? Men would go out there, we would sacrifice. The women would sacrifice, you know, they'd make the meals, whatever. But now it's like become this, you know, terribly toxic thing to say that perhaps genders, you know, they have a traditional role, and when you deviate from them traditional roles, people are incredibly unhappy. And lo and behold, would you look at current day society, nobody's happy. Okay, and this woman literally prefaced the video by saying that women are unhappy. And again, this is a woman who's recording from an iPhone. If you're not unhappy, perhaps you should change something, starting with your attitude.
And the thing is, you didn't have to admit to this. Women already know that. And that's why so many of us are no longer interested. You know, a man wouldn't sign up for that deal. I notice how it's so funny how it's gendered. Oh, a good woman, a good wife is going to put the family's happiness above her. Do men do that?
Yes. Men provide and care and protect for their families. Like, again, this is something that if you sit down and you have a discussion with a man and you say, hey, would you be willing to provide for your family, for your kids? Would you be willing to care for them and love them? Most men are going to sit there and say, hell yeah, dude. Like, you know, I'd love to have a family, but these days, family isn't something that you can have without having it torn away from you by the government at a moment's notice. So, like, a lot of dudes are just straight up opting out. But men inherently understand sacrifice. They understand that, hey, if you want to make money, you've got to go out there. You've got to do things that you don't like. If you want to raise a family, you know, you've got to be the one doing certain things that maybe you don't want to do. You've got to be up early, going out there to work, etc. Right? But again, like the moment you mention, right, sacrifice on some of these women's behalf, they just like, they crack it. Absolutely crack it. All over the internet, no less, crying about privilege, recording from, again, guys, I cannot stress this enough. This is a girl who is complaining about oppression and women being oppressed and everything being so difficult. She's recording from a phone, by the way. You know?
Are men expected to do that? Do you, pick me supreme, expect a man to put his happiness or put the family before his happiness? Hell fucking no.
Yes, and a lot of men who have families are doing that. Right? The problem is that men are being straight up kicked out of family units, or women are choosing men who are not interested in building families and then blaming all men for having that characteristic.
When the man is unhappy, it's because his wife is terminally ill. It's just fine with you if he walks out the door, if he abandons his children because he met someone new, or because, you know, he's not getting something he feels he deserves, like, you know, constant sex, although he doesn't do anything to care for or nurture his spouse or anything for the rest of the household. It's just, you know, all about his needs. Because everything she talked about in that video is the man, the man, the man, the man, the man. Talk about the chore gap, hun. Talk about the wage gap. Talk about the fact.
Anytime someone mentions the wage gap, guys, you have my permission as a random animated vampire man on the internet to just completely ignore the rest of what they're saying. Women who complain about the age gap and they think that they have a ground to stand on, I'm sorry, but these people cannot be listened to. Okay, the wage gap is literally not a thing. It's literally an earnings gap, okay? Like, the men earn more because they do more. It's that damn simple, and that's the way it should be. If you don't want to work the dangerous jobs, if you don't want to, you know, work the hard jobs, the longer hours, if you don't want to, you know, fight for that pay rise, etc., all of these things which men are more likely to do, then yes, you deserve to earn less than men do. It really is quite simple.
Like that, women are stuck doing all of the child-rearing labor, all the emotional labor, all of
emotional labor. I love me some terms that just mean absolutely nothing so we can make it sound as though we're doing things. You know, guys, you know, you should all feel guilty because I'm putting through the emotional labor of making these videos. Like, what kind of bullcrap argumentation is that? You know, expecting people to sympathize for you because you make up words and say that you do them. Yeah, guys, you know, I do all this animated labor on the internet, guys. Feel sorry for me, you know?
Of the work of raising the children. Husbands don't even show up, barely for the fun Kodak dad stuff.
To be fair, I wouldn't show up for you either, just to be clear.
And women are saying, we are tired. If you're not going to do anything, we might as well be by ourselves. At least it'll be clean. At least it'll be easier. At least I won't be expecting something. You know, my grandfather used to say something I didn't understand till I was grown. He said, it's better to do nothing all day and expect nothing than to work all day and get nothing. Women are tired of working all day for the nothing contribution from the man. Like and follow from.
Yeah, so don't let the door, you know, the door kick you on the way out, because, ma'am, nobody cares. And if you're someone who's opting out of the dating market, you probably just saved a man a very large headache. Guys, we're going to be calling today's episode there. Excuse me for my terrible voice. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. Guys, make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments. If you guys have any, anything you'd like to say to any of these particular clips, feel free to do so. And as always, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace. Yo, what is going on, guys? Past Taylor here. Just want to say thank you if you made it to the end of today's episode, and also to say a little bit of an announcement. We are going to be recruiting more members to Fiend Gang, so if this is something that interests you, you want to be a content creator, make sure you check out the link in the video description. It's going to be somewhere near the top. There's one for a creator application, and then also if you're someone who makes music, if you make beats, we're also looking for someone who can make beats for the channel as well. So if either of these interest you, make sure that you check them out. And as always, guys, just again, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you in the next one for real this time. Peace.